Hello, my name's Ben.
And my name is Josh.
Welcome back to FPL Graduates and welcome back to another deadline stream. It has barely been 48 hours since our last stream, and yet we are here again ready for another FPL deadline.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. I love it when it's like this, when they come thick and fast. Games almost every single day at the minute. Lots of headaches, though. Obviously, last week we used a free hit. How did it go for you, Ben?
It didn't go the best, but I also would say it like in terms of my situation, it probably worked out. Like I was working it out. I was probably like on to get a stinker score like 30 something if I didn't use the free hit. So I got 50 something, 52, 51 points, which is like it's not good for a free hit in general, but it meant that like I could like maintain that rank. So relatively sort of content with it.
Yeah, a massive issue for us both that we had Ronaldo captain. Obviously, United just didn't look good yesterday. For me, I had Tierney, which was massive. He obviously got that goal and clean sheet. He was the biggest hauler. I already had him in my team, though. So it was a bit of a sticky one. Mahrez, though, with a lovely 10-pointer. It was annoying that he didn't get bonus, but City just conceded so many goals towards the end of that game. Going forward, though, this week, obviously, you're not going to use your free hit. What are your thoughts? Are you taking hits? Are you going to... How many transfers are you going to make?
So I'm kind of in a bit of a sticky one right now. I'll show you the team currently and what it looks like. So currently, this is what the team is looking like. I've not got too many players. So I've got 9 at the moment. I'm going to look to take a -4 to field at full 11. The guys that I'm going to bring out are Tierney and Rafinha. Yeah, I think is what I'm going to do. Of course, it's less than an hour towards a deadline, so I'm kind of needing to make that decision. But yeah, like I'm going to look to bring out Tierney and bring out Rafinha, and I want to bring in Reguilon and Son. I wanted ideally to take out Smith Rowe and Tierney, but then last night's Reguilon price rise meant I sort of priced out of that. So it's a bit annoying, but you know, I think I'm relatively happy with what I'm going to do. A -4 for those two to come in. I think you know Son and Reguilon are probably one of the two most important assets to sort of bring in right now. So yeah, that's what I'm sort of looking like. A -4 to field and 11 is not the end of the world. I could end up with 10 playing because obviously Guaita, like I don't know what's going on with him at the moment. He's just not playing. Like whether he's picked up an injury and he's on the bench right now, I don't know. So that's what I'm kind of looking like. Josh, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, it's interesting. We had news about Cancelo as well. I'm not sure. He's basically just not been pitching in training alongside 5 other City players. So that could mean a lot or it could mean nothing at this stage. We'll have to wait and see for that. But yeah, other than that, I think they're good transfers to make. Son and Reguilon, Spurs are probably the go-to team if you could call one at the minute. They look really good against Palace. And although there weren't a lot of returns for the big boys, you could see that there's promise in the future, and I think that's where I'm looking to make my transfers too. Guaita is a sticky one. Like you just have a goalkeeper, like such bad time with them this season, haven't you?
Yeah.
Who have you had in so far, and how are they done?
So I had Ramsdale on the free hit, which did all right. Guaita, I brought him in game week 12. And he's got a maximum of 3 points since game week 12 for me. Game week 11, I brought in Sanchez and he got a red card. Game week 10, I played the wild card and played Ben Foster in goal. He got 2 points. And game week 1 to 9, I had Melia who got me 1 clean sheet in that time. So I haven't had the best of times.
So if you need a goalkeeper, stay far away from Ben as possible, basically is what we've learned from that, because that is stinky. But well, I'll move on to my team and show you it's not as bad as Ben's in terms of how many players he's got out for once. It's roles reversed since the whole COVID outbreaks that have been breaking out. So De Gea in goal, I'm really happy with him. I sort of stuck with him after United had COVID. I could have gone to Ramsdale, but I'm glad I kept him. I knew United would be getting a lot of shots against them, although they've been playing better than last night. They've still been conceding a lot of chances, and De Gea makes a lot of saves, which is great. He made 7 last night. He came away with a 5-pointer despite him losing the clean sheet, which is what you love. Glad to have the Liverpool boys back. Little trifecta. Leicester away. We saw how poor Leicester defensively were. If you have Salah, you need to captain him. I'd even captain Jota or Trent if you don't own Salah. I think it's going to be another whitewash that we saw at the Etihad. Reece James and Alonso begrudgingly still have the Chelsea double up. It's tough, man. Reece James either returns big or he returns nothing. A 0-pointer after that own goal in the free hit, 8 and a 6, a 0, 0, 0, 1, 12. It's just literally big or go home with him. Alonso, again, probably be looking to come out on my team if there was no postponements, but can't do that yet. Cancelo, he probably won't be vice captain when I come around to the transfers, but he's still in there. Obviously, I did discuss that just now. Salah captain, Jota, Bernardo, again, Man City, I think they scored 17 goals or something in the last 3 weeks. And he's been involved in absolutely none of them, which is crazy because he's played literally 2.5 games in that time. Jarrod Bowen, Watford away, looking decent. West Ham, not so much, but the fixtures are there. Rafinha will probably make way this week. It's the only midfield spot available. He obviously doesn't play this week. And then I have Dennis up top. A bench consisting of Bachmann, who obviously will play, and then Tierney, Davies, and Watkins. So I've got not a lot of cover. My thought process is, at the minute, either go Rafinha to Lucas, no hits. I'm quite tempted by that, to be honest, because Lucas looked really good in that game against Palace. He's returned 3 times out of 6 as well since Conte's taken over. Or I could go Watkins and Rafinha to Harry Kane and a playing but 4.5 million midfielder, something like Sissoko or Gilmore. So it's a tough decision. I haven't made my mind up. I'll make my mind up on the stream. What are your thoughts in that? Would you take a hit, Ben, or would you sort of just leave it, considering I'm bringing in someone who's not really going to make me a lot of points in a Sissoko or someone like that?
Yeah, I don't think the hit's worth it, in my opinion. Yes, Harry Kane could come in and do wonders, but is it worth having then that 4.5 million player when you know you probably need squad depth around this time of the season? So I'd probably be tempted maybe to not take the hit and sort of move on for that. I'm in a position where I kind of have to take that hit to field the 11, which is why I'm doing it. In any other situation, I'd as long as I had players, I probably wouldn't. As well as that, I'm more confident now that I will have more players playing in my team. Since we've heard from Jack Gorhan, he's a Northern football reporter for the Daily Mail who spoke to Manchester City, and City say that Cancelo and Zinchenko are available for tomorrow's game. So, a bit of early City news that they're available, which also is pretty good.
Yeah, it's good to hear. It's knowing that now. If I take Rafinha out and play Lucas in, I quite like Lucas. I thought he played really well, as I said. That's a full 11, barring any rotation, which is lovely jubbly. Another thing that I think people need to consider, I've seen a lot of people considering DCL. It just scares me. It puts me off because he plays on Thursday, and it's Tuesday today. I feel like 48 hours is a long time in the Premier League right now. What's your thoughts on bringing in players that maybe play today rather than play later on in the game week?
It's a safe pick to do. You get so much more information, and information is key in FPL. It's just a case of the more information you have, the better your outcomes are going to be. You're obviously going to know who's playing, and playing players are key.
Yeah, they're massive at the minute. Right, let's get into some questions. We'll run through a load of questions. Obviously, there's 35 minutes until the deadline, but do not make your transfers on the deadline. Everyone knows the app crashes. I don't care about these excuses of people not being able to play their free hit last week. It was your own fault. So let's go into this one here. Captain Trent or Son, as I don't have Salah. It's a big question. Obviously, I was saying captain any Liverpool asset basically earlier, but Son against Southampton, they've been defensively poor, haven't they?
Yeah, I mean, Son's we saw what happened last season against Southampton with Son. He likes playing against them. I think Trent Alexander-Arnold's a really interesting one as well. He's been outscoring Salah a lot of the weeks recently. So
yeah,
But then again, I probably wouldn't back against Salah. Like, we could make some gains today from Mo Salah's returns, which would be nice for a change, that he won't be 199% expected ownership. So yeah, I'd probably have to say, in terms of his options that he's got, as he doesn't have Salah, I'd probably say Son is the safer one for me.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. We'll go quick fire through some of these questions. If you've got any questions at all, just fire them in the comments. I'll try and get around to as many as we can. Will Bernardo Silva play? Probably is what my answer would be. He's played pretty much all the games so far, other than that game he got taken off at half-time with a little niggle. He seems to be one of the main cogs in that City team. What's your thoughts on Bernardo? He's obviously dropped off FPL-wise in the last 3 weeks, where everyone else has been scoring, but do you think he'll come back onto the points?
He's one that was, when he was getting the returns, he was overperforming like his numbers. I think he will play, and he's one that, like, you probably, if you've got him in, you have to keep. It wouldn't be one that I'd be looking to sell right now based on all the stuff we're hearing at the moment. Yeah, he'll get returns. It's just not going to be explosive like it was previously.
Yeah, exactly. You got to sort of readjust your demand with those ones. JR's here, Ronaldo and Gallagher to Kane and Jota for a hit. Obviously, Gallagher potentially could be out with COVID. We're not totally confirmed on that, I don't think, yet. And obviously, Ronaldo played a stinker last night. Kane and Jota, the men in form. What would you do?
See, it's a risk taken out Ronaldo, of course, but he's a player who's playing. In his case, I would probably only take hits if it's for someone who's not going to play at all any minutes or get any points, because I still think at any given moment Ronaldo could score, whether that be from a penalty or whatever. I don't think it's worth the risk taking him out on a hit.
Yeah, United have Burnley as well, so it's not as if it's a tough fixture run that they're going into. United still have one of the best fixture runs going forward, so it's just whether their performances match up. Best £4.5 to £5 million defender. For me right now, I would look towards the Spurs boys. If you haven't got Reguilon, I'm not sure if Emerson Royale fits this. I think he's just over 5 million.
He's 4.9.
There you go. So I'd go Emerson Royale, 4.9. He gets forward like crazy. He's looking really good. Anyone better than that, Ben?
I can't think of anyone right now that would be better than him right now.
Yeah, 2 good fixtures coming up as well for Spurs. Will Lukaku start this week? Have you heard anything about that?
I've not heard any sort of news about that. Obviously, Chelsea are playing tomorrow rather than today. I'd probably say that he's in line to start, because he played pretty well against Villa. In that second half, he bullied Mings, absolutely bullied him. So I think he's probably pushing for a start now.
Not too hard though. Decar's here. What app do you guys use for your XG stats? So we are partnered with Fantasy Football Hub. There's a link in the description on our link tree if you want to go check it out. It's like a couple of pounds a month, I'm pretty certain. But yeah, it gives you all the stats. You can do it for particular game weeks, loads of different stuff like that. So make sure you check them out as well. Can you triple captain and free hit in back-to-back game weeks? Yes, you can, just not in the same game week. So just keep that in mind. Watkins to DCL. This is the one that I was thinking about personally, but then I realised that the DCL doesn't play for another couple of days. Would you just keep Watkins now? Because obviously Villa could potentially double in 22, I do believe.
I probably wouldn't make that move. As much as I think DCL is a good move to make, I don't think that Everton game even goes ahead against Newcastle, because we've seen Eddie Howe was hinting at the fact that they've got no players left basically. Obviously had a couple of injuries and they've got COVID cases, so I probably would hold off on that transfer at the moment just to see what happens.
Yeah, I'm sort of with those ones. There's a few teams that obviously haven't had the COVID cases yet. Newcastle being one of them. So those sort of teams, I think you just got to sort of steer away with, because it's just bound to happen at this stage. There's so many cases. Here we go, Mr. Kesh, Moura and Jota, good shouts this week. What's your thoughts on Lucas Moura? Were you impressed by him this week?
Yeah, I thought he was really good this week. Obviously, there's a lot of good players around that price point anyway. I think both those players are good shouts. Jota, especially for me this week, given how poor Leicester are at defending in general, and they've conceded the most headed chances this season. And Jota, as we know, is ridiculously good for a man who's like, he's not small in height, which just the commentators have been going on. He's like average size. Yeah.
Here we go. Here's a good one. This is grass versus spreadsheets. King or Dennis? Are you still in the King camp?
Yeah, I'll stick with King because I got him. Obviously, if Dennis is in the provisional Nigeria squad for the Africa Cup of Nations, so we'll see what happens there. But I think I prefer King just because it means I don't have to make a transfer further down the line.
Yeah, definitely. Is it okay to not play a keeper this week? Shiv asked. I would say yes. Like, if you have to take a hit for one, do not do it. Your keeper gains aren't going to be massive, especially Ramsdale not playing this game week. It's going to save you on that effective ownership because he's like 60% owned at most ranks. So yeah, don't take hits for keepers. What's your advice on keepers at the minute? Obviously, you're in a bit of a sticky one with your keeper, aren't you?
Yeah, like I've seen news that Guaita is out for this game as well. Like through another source that we've seen on Twitter. We put that up there just a couple of minutes ago. I don't think it's worth it for me to take a hit for someone else to come in. It's going to have to be a case of going, look, I'll just play with 10 this week, and the only player that I'd want to bring in maybe is De Gea. And it's a tough one. It really is. I'm not really sure what to do there. It's just be a case of waiting and seeing and kind of not doing anything and seeing how long it takes for Guaita to come back in, really.
Yeah, it's not a good sitch that with Guaita. We'll have a look at a few more. Make sure you keep getting those comments in. I'll try and get around to as many as we can. As I said, we've only got 27 minutes now until the deadline. And we still haven't decided. Have you made your mind up yet with your transfers, or are you sort of still pondering?
I'm pondering about what to do. I think for me, it's whether I want to keep Rafinha in or not. Whether it's going to be Rafinha that comes out or Smith Rowe for me. If it's going to be Smith Rowe that comes out, I'm obviously only going to have 5.2 million to spend on a defender. Whereas if it is Rafinha, I have that bit extra to be able to afford to get Reguilon in. So it's a case of really Rafinha and, let's say, Emerson Royale, or Reguilon and Smith Rowe. That's the sort of dilemma I've got right now. It's not a good one, really. It's not a good one.
It's tough, but I'd say you're not in a bad position. I think Emerson Royale is just as good as Reguilon, to be fair. He seems to get us forward just as much. Is Gallagher out or transfer for Maddison for a -12 altogether? Brought Antonio and Cancelo in, Ben. -12. Christ.
So I'm guessing that Antonio and Cancelo are -4s to begin with. I have no idea. Like, I really wouldn't want to take a -12 in this situation.
Surely he could have fielded like at least 10 or 9 without these hits. Like, you must have had like a full Arsenal team if you're struggling this
must
bad.
Have been.
But yeah, I would just try and stay. You've taken so many hits already. Just try and stay away for a few more. Will Son start? I'd expect him to. I haven't heard anything different. He's one of Spurs' main men, so I think they just got taken off early, like Kane and Son in the last game, just to sort of preserve their legs, to be fair, because there's a lot of games coming up. Obviously, games today, game on New Year's, like around New Year's in a few days' time. So, it's probably just to save their legs rather than doing anything else. Gallagher to Jota, yeah, that's a good move. I think in the consensus, we'd all agree with that. Obviously, Gallagher probably won't be playing today.
Don't think so.
Let's have a look if there's any other sort of different questions to what we've already answered. Saka to Mahrez, worth the punt. I know he may not start, but I think he'll go huge if he does. I was thinking about getting Mahrez in for Rafinha. I can afford that straight move. But the big thing is with Mahrez is that he'll be going to AFCON, I do believe, isn't he, Ben?
Yeah, he'll definitely be going to AFCON. So, again, with the City boys as well, they got like a tough few fixtures coming up after this game. So it's a case of like weighing it up and saying, look, do you back City all the way, and do you think they're going to get loads of points against these big teams that they got coming up?
Yeah, you're sort of booking a transfer in already if you get Mahrez in or any African Cup of Nation player. Like that's when King or Dennis right now. You've got to say King because Dennis looks like he's going. It wasn't maybe like that maybe a month ago, but Nigeria have had like a change of heart in that regard. Will Foden play from right wings? It's a tough one. I still don't see Grealish or Foden playing. I think Pep's really just sort of pushed them to the side. What's your thoughts on that whole situation? It's a bit crazy, isn't it?
Well, obviously Foden came off the bench, didn't he? So it kind of suggests that Pep will play him. So you wanna hope that he does start him this week. It'd be concerning if he didn't start this week for Foden owners.
Yeah, he's come off the bench twice now, and obviously it's not a lot of minutes either. I think he got maybe 20 at most against Leicester, which is not ideal when you've got the likes of Sterling and Mahrez back in double-digit hauls. FaZe Weathers asked, Cancelo captain? If you got Salah, stick with Salah. Is that the consensus? Yeah, as always.
Yeah, for sure.
We'll take this one from Deck. This isn't related to FPL, but do you guys go to UCFB? What do you study, and what would you recommend it? Go on, Brown. UCFB plug for 5 seconds.
Yeah, for sure. So I studied international football business. Josh, what did you study?
Sports business and sports broadcasting.
Yeah, so I definitely recommend it. Really good. Lots of football. You get to meet a lot of people in the sort of industry as well.
Yeah, it's definitely worth it. Definitely check it out if it's one of your options. Back onto FPL. Is it worth Foden to Mahrez? Just stick clear of Mahrez. I wouldn't bring him in. He's going to AFCON in a couple of weeks, so you're basically wasting a transfer in a way. I know you could obviously haul and stuff like that, but there's better options to go for in that City team and other teams as well. Put Son in this week for Foden. Would you do that?
Put Son in. Oh, yes. Why not?
Yes. Are you bringing in Son this week? Is that a confirmed?
Son's coming into the team. It's just a case of who for.
Fair play. I'm quite short. I'm like 0.8 short off of Son or 1.2. I can't quite work it out maths.
Yeah.
I'm going to do Rafinha to Lucas right now. We'll confirm that and lock that in. And Lucas comes in for this game week. There we are, 11 playing, hopefully. Let's change that vice captain because I'm not a fan of Cancelo. We'll go to... who should we go to? Lucas. Go on, Lucas, boy. I mean, Salah's going to play anyway, so I'll be shocked if he doesn't. There we go. So the team's locked in. There's my starting 11 for Gameweek 20. We go De Gea, Trent, James, Cancelo, Alonso, Salah captain, Jota, Bernardo, Lucas. The transfer in this week. Bowen and Dennis with a bench of Bachman, Tierney, Davis and Watkins. Obviously, the outfield players aren't playing. Bachman, I doubt, will play for me this week. But I'm pretty happy with that. It's one of the first weeks where I haven't had to take a hit to get a full 11. What's your thoughts on the 11, Ben?
Yeah, it's a decent 11, that. A strong team going into this game week. Relatively similar to mine, to be fair, in terms of the layout. I think the differences are probably like the City mid in Bernardo rather than what I've got. But yeah, it's a good team. Still unsure who to get rid of, though. It's just a case of what one I want to go for.
It's squeaky time in the Brown
maybe comments. You guys can help me out here. So would you... So we'll go
let's get your team up here.
Option 1, which is
Tierney and Rafinha out for Reguilon.
Son and Reguilon.
Yeah. Or Smith Rowe.
Option 2, which is Smith Rowe and Tierney out for Emerson and Son. Those are the options. Option 1 and option 2.
Obviously, Smith Rowe not really been playing too much either. He's sort of been pushed out of the team.
Yeah, for sure.
He's been getting some jammy returns.
But I really think Reguilon is due a mega haul at some point. So it's a tough one. We'll see what the comments are saying about this, whether you'd rather get sort of Reguilon or Emerson.
I feel like Ben's heart is set on Reguilon from what I'm hearing here.
I'm liking the look of him. But of course, Rafinha, I love him. I love the boy. So
they have good fixtures as well in the coming weeks.
Yeah.
I think they face two of the bottom. I can't check now because I haven't got Rafinha in my team, but I think they face. I know Norwich is in there, and then I think maybe Burnley as well. So we're seeing a couple of ones. Lucas and Reguilon from Gallagher and Livramento. Let's do this one. Lucas and Reguilon from Gallagher and Livramento, or Reguilon and De Gea for Ramsdale and Livramento.
Attack the game week. Go for the outfield players.
Yeah, I think so too. I'd agree with that. We've had multiple ones. There's only Deck's gone for option 2 here. So I love Reguilon. What an asset. That's what Ben's got plastered on his head right now.
It does. He's just due a haul, isn't he? He's just due one. I think that's probably what I'll go for. We'll see. Give me 4 or 5 more minutes.
He's worried. Mr. Worried. I'm just hoping Lucas starts. Imagine if Lucas gets benched now, I'd be crying.
Oh, that'd be gutting.
Right, let's go for a few more questions here. I have Salah, Son, and Ronaldo. Who should I captain? Mo Salah, all day, every day. Who do I captain? Ronaldo, Foden, James, Cancelo, or Jota? I would probably go Jota out of those lot. What
Agreed.
would you say?
Jota, yeah.
Shiv saying Reguilon in Ben. I think it's a consensus to get Reguilon.
I think it is. I think we'll have to make the transfers.
You have to deal with Smith Rowe for a couple more weeks, mate.
Yeah, he's playing. He's playing for his place in the team, isn't he? Really,
he is. I think it's just because Odegaard's been such a good playmaker. Like Smith Rowe's best position is the number 10, and he's just not been able to come in there, and therefore he's just getting those goals off the bench. But Rafinha out is annoying because I wanted to keep him too, but he's the only midfielder that's not playing this week, so you just have to bite the bullet.
For sure. It's a bit annoying. I think if Reguilon didn't rise, we'd be so much better off. But yeah, we're going to make the transfers now. Bang. Confirm. -4.
Ooh.
It's our second hit of the season, and I'm going to put the vice on Son just to be safe.
Save the team.
Save the team. Make sure the team's saved, as always, guys. So yeah, that's what the team's looking like. I'm probably going to be playing with 10, but I'm happy with that. Like having a non-playing keeper, it's not the end of the world. So wouldn't take a hit again to bring in anyone else in goal. I don't think it's worth it. We'll see next week what the state of play is. Could be a case of using my free transfer on that keeper, but we will see.
Yeah, it sets you up really nice as well. Like Son's going to be there for a long time. Spurs have decent fixtures. They're also got so many games in hand, so you could potentially be seeing a couple of doubles or maybe even a triple game week with them. So it's just going to be funny when Emerson Royale bags a goal later today and seeing your reaction.
Make some good content, that is for sure.
All right, we'll pop for you a couple more questions. Obviously, the deadline is in 15 minutes, so if you got any transfer deliberations or stuff like that, make sure you get them in the comments quickly because we'll be finishing just before past. Sterling to Son for a -4. Absolutely not. Sterling's playing really well. I'd keep Sterling. I'd want Sterling if I could get him right now. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I mean, he looks fantastic at the moment. Looks in great form. Looks nailed on that starting 11 with Pep Guardiola. So yeah, honestly, I don't think I'd take that hit right now. Sterling looks good.
Yeah, I think it's also massive differential as well. It takes some penalties, as we saw. Mahrez took one, Sterling took the other. So can't really complain there. Glenn's in here just in time to see Ben taking the dreaded hit. Mr. No Hit himself, Glenn, over here. So yeah, was that your second one, do you say, of the season?
Second hit of the season, yeah. So yeah, I haven't taken many. This time last year, I probably would have had about 20 hits already. So we're going a lot better this year.
See, before all the COVID, I only took one, and then since then, I've probably taken maybe 3 or 4, which is not. It has damaged my rank, to be fair. I'm getting it back now, but it's not as good. Leicester going to surprise Liverpool. Come back to this from the Leicester fan Stanley. There, are you agreeing with him there, Ben?
Sorry, Stanley, mate. It's not looking good. I mean, there's a lot of Leicester fans that I've been talking to that have even said like they're not expecting anything out of this game. Liverpool have had that rest as well. Like Leicester are coming off the back of a really tough game against Manchester City. I'm sorry, I don't see any other result than a Liverpool win today, especially as Leicester, they concede 75% of the chances down the side that Salah plays. So it's
and
like,
Trent.
yeah, it doesn't look ideal.
Footballs asks, how many total points do you two have? For me, it's 1,247. My rank's at 18.5k at the minute. What about you?
Mine is 1,220 at a rank of 55k.
So there you go.
Probably take off 4 points from that score.
As he just hit it. Gallagher on Mount, definitely not Gallagher. He probably won't play today. I don't know if I'd go Mason Mount either, though.
If you are deliberating, though, make sure to make your transfers now. We all know that in 10 minutes time, last game week, the whole FPL site crashed and people weren't able to make their transfers. So make sure you get them in, lads, now.
Yeah, definitely. Ammon says he's scared of Sterling being benched. I can't see Sterling being benched, to be fair. The only way he does is if Foden plays, and I reckon Foden might play the false 9. That's where he came on off the bench last time. Jota for Maddison. That's interesting. Obviously, Maddison, despite Leicester playing awful, he's been the shining star. Would you do that?
Not this week, and probably not for the foreseeable future. I think Jota will be the main man when AFCON is on, so you've got to bear that in mind. I think bringing in Maddison's a good idea, maybe for a different player.
Fair enough. Here we go. We've got a few more. Rudiger or James to Reguilon. I think you have to go Rudiger just because of the attacking threat that James does possess. Although he's been up and down, I think it's the safer bet, isn't it? Because we know Reece James can go nuclear.
Yeah, for sure.
Shane asked Lucas or Bowen for this week. What are you saying? I have both of
them. Lucas.
Yeah, I think getting on Spurs is going to be important, no matter who it is. If it's defender or maybe even a cheaper option like Lucas. Let's have a look here. Right wings, best midfielder to replace Smith Rowe. I have 9.5 million and already have Salah, Foden, Jota, and Bowen. I think the obvious answer there is going to be Heung-min Son. We obviously discussed Sterling earlier, but I think getting on those Spurs boys, they've got some good fixtures coming up. Compared to City's fixtures, they're not as good as Spurs. Who would you go for, Son?
9.5 mil. See, I think I'd try and get Son in and just downgrade somewhere else.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Who do I start? King or Maddison? I think King, easy. Maddison, I just don't see that Liverpool defence really conceding too much. I think Van Dijk should be back now along with Fabinho. So they're back to their usual ways. Someone saying Chamberlain, like Oxlade-Chamberlain. No, I'm going to say. I don't know if I'd recommend him. I just don't see him really providing that many FPL points. What? This guy's just spamming Chamberlain. What does he mean? How much do you think Cancelo will be worth at the start of next season, Browner?
7 mil, probably.
Yeah, he's unreal. Tierney to Reguilon for a -4, seeing as Gallagher is rumoured out with COVID, so would give me bench cover. Would you do a -4 for bench cover?
I don't know. Yes.
He's saying yes. There we go. Right, I think we can wrap things up here. Obviously, it's coming to the deadline now. I think we've gone through pretty much every question you could think of. So, thank you everyone for tuning in. It's been a good one, isn't it, Ben? It's going to be interesting to see how our picks come out.
Yeah, it's been decent. Looking forward to the game week. Hopefully, we come out with another green arrow. The FPL graduates have been on a roll this season.
Yeah, we're doing not too shabby. So, yeah, thanks for everyone for joining. If you want to hear the latest team news or see when the bonus points are released, make sure you check out our Twitter and Instagram, respectively. We post them pretty much directly after the game's finished with the bonus points. Same with the team news just before. So, yeah, thanks everyone for tuning in. We massively appreciate it.
And as always, please remember to like, comment, subscribe. I've been Ben.
I've been Josh.
We'll see you guys
later. Have a good